In July 1979, a faction linked with the Hells Angels met covertly under the shroud of night, having meticulously tracked their target Mick Jagger for over a week. Recognizing the formidable security at Andy Warhol's residence, they opted for a more patient strategy, setting their sights on Jagger's own home. Their cunning plan involved sailing across the Long Island Sound to approach Jagger's estate from its less guarded rear, intending to plant explosives beneath his residence unnoticed before disappearing into the darkness. But what drove the Hells Angels to such extreme measures against one of music's most revered figures? Let's delve into it. Scheduled for December 6, 1969, a significant free concert was set to take place at Altamont Speedway, about an hour from San Francisco, aiming to embody the peace and love ethos of the 1960s counterculture. However, plagued by organizational shortcomings, the event turned tragic, resulting in 4 fatalities and earning its place as one of music history's most contentious moments. In November 1969, amid their first American tour in nearly 5 years, the Rolling Stones faced media backlash, notably from esteemed critic Ralph Glean of the San Francisco Chronicle, who criticized the band's ticket prices as evidence of a troubling disregard for their audience's financial well-being. In response to criticisms, the Rolling Stones defied detractors by concluding their tour with a massive free concert in California, featuring not only the Stones, but also Jefferson Airplane, Santana, and the Grateful Dead. Inspired by the success of Woodstock just 4 months prior, organizers aimed to replicate its impact on the West Coast, envisioning a cultural phenomenon akin to a West Coast counterpart. Despite free admission, the Stones had a financial stake in the event's success as part of their documentary film project titled Gimme Shelter, entitling them to 50% of the profits, and thus incentivizing a substantial audience for filming. Poor planning plagued the December 6th event, initially intended for San Jose State University, but rejected due to prior unruly crowds, leading city officials to refuse further large-scale gatherings. Denied permits, organizers shifted to Golden Gate Park, only to face rejection from the city's mayor, known for his disdain toward counterculture movements. With the deadline looming, a stroke of luck secured Sears Point Raceway as the venue, prompting immediate efforts to prepare for an event expected to draw hundreds of thousands. Recognizing the organizers' vulnerability, Sears Point owners imposed strict conditions, including a hefty $100,000 deposit and exclusive rights to the Stones documentary. Rejecting demands, the Stones necessitated another venue change, shifting the concert to Altamont Speedway on the evening of Thursday, December 4th, just 2 days before the event. This sudden relocation left organizers scrambling, with insufficient time to arrange vital amenities like restrooms, medical services, parking, and notably, security. The decision to enlist the Hells Angels for event security remains controversial, with the instigator's identity still debated, although prevailing narratives suggest recommendations from Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead, both of whom had previously engaged the Angels for security at their concerts without incident. Following, representatives from the Stones and the Grateful Dead management teams met with the San Francisco chapter of the Hells Angels to arrange security for the concert. Conflicting accounts exist regarding the sequence of events and individuals involved, yet it's undisputed that the Angels were contracted to provide security in exchange for $500 worth of beer, equivalent to over $4,000 in 2024. Initially expecting 100,000 attendees, the Altamont Speedway found itself overwhelmed by over 300,000 fans on the day of the concert. With preparations rushed, the massive crowd faced shortages of essential provisions like food and water, though many brought their own drugs and alcohol, fostering an atmosphere of indulgence and communal sharing. However, the initial atmosphere of revelry quickly soured as both concertgoers and security guards indulged excessively. The contracted Hells Angels, having consumed their allotted $500 worth of beer, became intoxicated, with many notably so by the time the performances began. Santana kicked off the event with a spirited set, initially well received. But as the day progressed and intoxication levels rose, the atmosphere turned volatile. Inebriated concertgoers attempted to breach the stage, prompting the Angels to respond forcefully, using pool cues and bike chains to repel the crowd. The situation escalated into chaos, marked by numerous altercations between audience members and the Hells Angels. During a performance by Jefferson Airplane, Co-founder and lead singer Marty Balin attempted to restore order but was violently assaulted by an angel, rendering him unconscious. Further violence erupted when Stephen Stills of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young was targeted during his group's performance, enduring repeated stabbings with a sharpened bike spoke. The escalating mayhem led the Grateful Dead, scheduled to perform next, to wisely depart immediately out of concern for their safety. With the Grateful Dead's abrupt exit, a significant 2-hour gap in the concert schedule ensued, exacerbating tensions among the increasingly aggressive crowd. Restless and unchecked, the Angels began hurling full cans of beer at unsuspecting audience members, causing several to sustain concussions and prompting others to flee. By the time the Rolling Stones made their entrance, the concert had descended into chaos. In a shocking turn of events, Mick Jagger was immediately assaulted, receiving a punch to the face from a member of the audience upon disembarking from their helicopter. Nevertheless, undeterred, the band pressed on towards the stage. Initially, the Stones' presence seemed to pacify the restless crowd, but disturbances resurfaced during the performance of Sympathy for the Devil. Jagger intervened, urging calmness and achieving a temporary ceasefire, allowing the band to finish the song uninterrupted. Tragedy struck during Under My Thumb when 18-year-old Meredith Hunter was fatally stabbed by Hell's Angel Alan Passaro, captured in real time by the documentary Gimme Shelter. Hunter, aware of racial tensions, had brought a firearm for protection, but retrieved it amidst escalating chaos, leading to the fatal outcome. Despite his girlfriend's desire to leave, Hunter persuaded her to stay, citing the impending performance by the Rolling Stones. Just 45 minutes before the fatal incident, Hunter, distinct in his lime green suit, was seen on record attempting to rush the stage with other audience members. Like many attendees, he was under the influence of drugs, confirmed later by his autopsy report. During the Stones' performance of Under My Thumb, Hunter climbed a speaker adjacent to the stage for a better view, prompting swift intervention from a group of Hell's Angels who forcibly removed him and struck him. Despite this, Hunter got up and retreated into the crowd, pursued by the Angels. In a tragic turn, Hunter drew his pistol, extending both arms, just as Hell's Angel Alan Passaro made 2 stabbing motions toward him. As Hunter collapsed, Passaro continued his assault, stabbing him 4 more times. Joined by other Angels, they surrounded Hunter, kicking his head until he lay motionless. Adding to the brutality, one Angel lifted a metal garbage can and dropped it onto Hunter's prone form. Passaro callously remarked to onlookers, "Don't touch him, he's going to die anyway." The violence at the concert claimed additional lives, with 2 individuals falling victim to a hit-and-run incident, and another drowning in an irrigation ditch while under the influence of LSD, bringing the total death toll of the one-day event to 4. Alan Passaro was arrested and charged with murder, but ultimately acquitted after the jury reviewed footage from the event. Passaro met his own demise in a drowning accident at Anderson Lake on March 29, 1985, with the circumstances deemed kind of suspicious by the head of the local sheriff's detective unit, though no foul play was definitively established. Following the violence, blame was squarely directed at the Hell's Angels, leading the Rolling Stones to sever ties with the group indefinitely. This decision angered the Angels, who felt betrayed by Jagger and the Stones' failure to defend them in the media. Sonny Barger, president of the Oakland chapter of the Hells Angels and present at the event, called into a radio show a couple of weeks later to justify the group's actions, vehemently denying any intention of policing the event and accusing Jagger of scapegoating them. Barger expressed disdain for the perceived manipulation, labeling the Angels as the biggest suckers and recounting an agreement allowing him to enjoy beer at the edge of the stage without interference. The Angels, angered by the Rolling Stones' perceived lack of support, retaliated by putting a contract on Mick Jagger's life, resulting in multiple assassination attempts, beginning in 1975. In the first instance, an armed assassin waited in a New York City hotel lobby, but Jagger's absence foiled the plot. Subsequent efforts, including a plan involving explosives on a boat aimed at Jagger's home, were derailed by a sudden storm, causing the would-be assassins to lose both their weapons and their stability in the rough seas. Decades of secrecy surrounded a covert operation until 1983, when a former Hells Angel, known as Butch, testified before a Senate committee about plans to eliminate Mick Jagger due to the band's alleged manipulation of public opinion. Despite past failures, Butch expressed confidence in the contract's active nature, believing someone would eventually succeed. Mick Jagger, now 80, continues to thrive, with plans for a tour sponsored by the American Association of Retired Persons, marking the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching.